Having an amazing day. As always, you can follow me on Instagram if you would like at Dream Rare. You can follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy. You can check out my website at legendary.vision for music, news analysis, and my contact info as well. And of course, you can donate. My donor box link will be below. You can see it on my page or my website. And stay tuned on Facebook for more news analysis, live streams, and whatnot. I wanted to come live today to talk about a growing story that I have seen in mainstream media. It was on Yahoo, Mashable, a bunch of, I think 4, 5, 6 big publications put out yesterday talking about Facebook and Russian ads. And the big headline and the big scoop was that there was a Russian company that during the election used between $50,000 to $100,000 in advertising, and they're pressuring Mark Zuckerberg to put this info public. What was it? Who was it? And Zuckerberg says, I'm not going to do it. I respect my privacy policy, and he's not giving in to the mounting pressure to put this stuff public. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Mark Zuckerberg. His platform, a free platform, has been incredible to me. I respect the fact that he's standing up to that, unlike a lot of these other companies who just let them come and take their data. And for the most part, I'm sure he's honestly actually already shared that data. Many reports have said that he's shared certain data with the Mueller Russia investigation and whatnot. But this is a big story, and I want to talk about it for several reasons. One, the mainstream media, as I always tell you, they lie all the time. They twist every story out of proportion, and they lost this election. And instead of learning from what they did during this election, calling everybody racist, sexist, xenophobic, making no press conferences, making no effort to connect with people, making no effort to have a back and forth honest dialogue with all sides, they're doubling down on their efforts now. And this is really disgraceful that they're still blaming Facebook for the election loss. First of all, a big story they put out earlier this year was Facebook was running a bunch of fake news. You know, Trump calls them fake news. They call anybody that's conservative, libertarian, or a liberal with a brain, they call fake news. And they tried to blame Facebook for the election. Someone did a study and found out that fake Hillary Clinton articles that were puff pieces made more shares than any fake pro-Donald Trump or pro-Russia, whatever they're trying to say, advertising. So all of the fake news actually statistically, scientifically, and factually led in their direction, but they're doubling down on it, saying, oh, I think a Russian company put $50,000 to $100,000 worth of advertising and changed the whole election. It wasn't the American people, it was Russian propaganda. That's what they think, and it's very, very unlikely. First of all, Hillary Clinton spent $1.1 billion on this election. $1.2 billion. Billion dollars. You're talking about $50,000 to $100,000 in advertising. I've worked at companies that have had bigger advertising budgets than that, and it has little to no effect if you don't know what you're doing. In general, what happened this election is far bigger than $50,000 or $100,000 worth of advertising, even if it was a Russian company. And every Russian company is not automatically propaganda. Every Russian company should not be demonized, and every American, every human being on this planet should scrutinize articles like this, because look at all of the things that they've called Russian. So far, there's no evidence that this was a Russian company. There's no evidence that they were, putting pro-propaganda for Trump, anti-Hillary, whatever that they're trying to say. But they investigated Breitbart and Infowars this year, calling them possibly working with the Russians. I don't care if you like Breitbart or read Breitbart. I don't care if you read Infowars or like Infowars. I could care less what you think about them. They're not Russian companies. They're American companies by American people who love America and have been in America their entire lives. It's ridiculous that they're calling everybody Russian. Glenn Greenwald has been called Russian. H.A. Goodman, Caitlyn Stone, liberal, left-leaning progressives who just want to tell the truth are being called Russians. Meanwhile, what's the president of Russia talking about? Is he lying? Is he still making excuses for the election? Is he writing a book saying, oh, this is why I lost, because I'm a sociopath who still hasn't learned a single lesson? No, Vladimir Putin, love him or hate him, he's talking about AI. He's talking about artificial intelligence, and he's on the same page as Elon Musk a huge American entrepreneur and scientific leader. That's what Vladimir Putin's talking about. Hillary Clinton, they're doubling down. They're running super PACs. They have a new website called Verrit, V-E-R-R-I-T, another propaganda network, which they're going to spend far more than $50,000. They spent hundreds of millions upon billions of dollars in propaganda. They own every mainstream media site. They can't seem to tell the truth. They get mad when Americans tell the truth. They get mad when Vladimir Putin tells the truth. They get mad when other leaders tell the truth. They get mad when conservatives or libertarians or liberals tell the truth. And instead of embracing the truth, instead of trying to connect with people, instead of realizing in this digital realm that we have bigger problems, we have AI, we have growing technology, they're doubling down and still blaming Facebook, saying that $50,000 worth of Russian ads influenced the entire election and that it needs to be scrutinized. First of all, we don't even know what that did, but second, it's so ridiculous, it's so bizarre, and it's honestly, I don't know another word to say, it's pathetic that people are still playing along with this train. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin is talking with Elon Musk about artificial intelligence taking over the entire world. And on that same note, Vladimir Putin said in an interview, he said, whoever controls artificial intelligence will control the entire world. And this is important for multiple reasons. They put out a story. Elon Musk, as you know, American entrepreneur, agreed with Vladimir Putin, but he said something very interesting, which I want you to think about with this Facebook news that I'm talking about, how they're trying to pry at Mark Zuckerberg and get his data. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want to give his data because he's a private company, people have privacy policies, and he's saying, listen, stop blaming me. I showed you data already. It's not my fault. It's not this Russian company's fault. There were billions of dollars spent. There's people like me. I don't spend any money. I spend $0 in advertising. I don't spend a single cent in Facebook ads, yet my videos reach more people because I am telling the truth and I'm being honest and I'm listening to people and I'm learning and I'm being open-minded and I'm considering all options. That's why I don't need to spend money. I'm sure one of my videos has done more than $10 million in Hillary Clinton and Russian ads because I tell the truth. Anyway, what Elon Musk said was, he agreed with Vladimir Putin, said whoever controls AI will control the world. And someone responded to Elon Musk and they said, well, do you think it's really going to be a government that has the artificial intelligence? Don't you think a corporation will then rule the world because it's corporations who are going to get the artificial intelligence? And Elon Musk said this. He said, roughly, you could look at his actual tweet, it doesn't matter even if a corporation gets that technology. He said, the government will come and take it at gunpoint. So this is what Vladimir Putin's talking about. He's talking about artificial intelligence with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is saying, hey, even if I get the artificial intelligence, the government's going to come and take it to me at gunpoint. And the mainstream media is talking about $50,000 worth of advertising in a campaign that had $1.2 billion spent from the losing candidate, multiple things. And Elon Musk is saying, hey, they'll come and take it at gunpoint. This makes what I'm saying about Facebook even more relevant and interesting because Mark Zuckerberg now is denying them, saying, hey, you're not allowed to have my data. And Elon Musk is like, yo, they might come to you at gunpoint and take the data anyway because that's how ruthless they are. They want the data. They want the information. That's why I applaud Mark Zuckerberg. I know he gets a lot of hate from all sides. He gets hate from conservatives, libertarians, everyone. You know, people don't trust him because of how he started his company. He's been incredible to me, first of all. This platform has changed my life, so, you know, I send prayers to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook all the time. But he's actually a lot better than Twitter and Google because he's actually putting up the block right now saying, no, this Russia witch hunt is done. You've done it for a year. You're not going to come and steal my private data just because you can't cope with the fact that you lost an election. And I'm warning people don't want to listen to me. You know, they say, Anomaly, I don't agree with you, this and that. That's fine. You know, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm telling you right now, just like I told you before the election, if you continue this Russia witch hunt, if you continue this believing mainstream media putting a microscope on events and telling you that everyone's neo-Nazis, everybody's KKK, everybody who doesn't agree with me is Russian, you're going to lose the next election. Donald Trump's probably, to be quite honest, whether I vote or not, he's probably a shoo-in for 2020 just based on how bad everyone else is, based on the things he's actually been doing, not what the mainstream media has been representing. But Keep doing this. Say, Anomaly, I don't believe you. You're crazy. You're Russian. You're conservative. I'm not. I'm not Russian. I'm not conservative. I'm not libertarian. I'm not anything. But you can write off everything I'm saying. You're going to lose in 2020 to Donald Trump again because people are sick of this. Even Mark Zuckerberg now is sick of this. They don't want to connect with people. They don't want to listen. They don't want to learn. They think everybody are data. They're like, oh, we can't. It's Russia's fault. It's Facebook's fault. It's conservatives' fault. They're all racist. They're all neo-Nazis. They're all this. They're all that. That's how sociopathic these people are. They can't even consider that Hillary Clinton's campaign was the worst, most pathetic run campaign in United States history. She spent more money than, and this is a fact, she spent more money than anybody ever has. $1.2 billion. That's not enough. Still got to blame people. Still got to investigate people. Still got to blame Russia. Still got to blame Alex Jones, Donald Trump, whatever. That's not enough. Now they're doubling down. They're making super PACs. They're making new websites. They have Media Matters. They have Verrit. They're doubling down on their failed strategy, trying to propagandize every single person, group everybody together. They said during the election, everyone who likes Donald Trump and doesn't like Hillary Clinton must be a deplorable, because that's how reality works. You have this candidate, 300 million people, all different events, all different, economy, taxes, this and that. And if you choose one person instead of this, you can't possibly be a good person. You can't possibly be this or that. You have to be a deplorable. You're racist, you're sexist, you're xenophobic. They're doubling down on that strategy, and it's just so pathetic. Hillary Clinton's campaign had more personal attacks than policy. More so than ever. You can look at the charts. She broke a modern record of having more personal attacks than and barely any policy. No president's ever done that before. It's always been all policy and barely any personal attacks. That's how everybody's won in the past. So not only is that side the propaganda, not only did that mentally damage our country, $1.2 billion of hate, no solutions. I don't mind calling out neo-Nazis. I don't mind calling out white supremacy. I don't mind calling out racism. I don't mind calling out bad people. But where's the solution? There's never a solution, and they're doubling down on this stupid strategy. How do you get people's attention? How do you stop propaganda? Do you get it by blaming Russia for everything, for calling everybody Russian, for calling everybody deplorable, and putting a microscope on a shitty event that they virtually staged and, had all the cameras there, and then talking about that for 6 months? Is that how you win? Is that how you get people's respect and attention? No, it doesn't matter who you silence. It doesn't matter who you try to stop. This is a failing strategy. It was a failing, mentally damaged. I feel terrible for every person that doesn't get it yet, because she's mentally destroyed so many women. She's convinced women that feminism is hating yourself and hating other people, and thinking that, politicians who start wars and kill people, that they're, true feminists, that, skewing things so much with the media that, don't have a conversation, don't think about this and that. It's all black and white. Everything's not a gray area. It's black and white, and everything's a fight. It's race, religion, it's gender. That's the true damage. And no, they're not stopping. They're not like, hey, Donald Trump, even if you hate Donald Trump, I'm not asking you to like Donald Trump. That's why I don't understand when people won't listen to me. I'm not telling you to love Donald. You can hate Donald Trump, but what I'm telling you is, do you want to lose again? Because if you do, that's fine. I could care less, because I'm not upset. It's not a lot that makes me upset. I don't care who wins president. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to enjoy my life. But if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine, but be prepared to keep losing. Because I'm connecting with people from every race, religion, and gender all over the United States, and it's building the frustration. It's building the fact that they still don't get it. After losing the whole election, there's not even one part of them that's like, hey, we could have done this better. I could have done this better personally. It's doubling down on the personal attacks. It's doubling down, attacking Facebook. Let's attack a whole social media network because we didn't get our way. People weren't believing our propaganda. That's how sick these people are. That's how disgusting and sick these people are, is that their propaganda didn't work, so now they call everyone else propaganda. It's the Russians. They spent $1.1 billion. And you think $50,000 worth of an undisclosed companies advertising, you don't even know what those ads are. Just tell the truth. When Vladimir Putin or Donald Trump tells the truth, or a conservative tells the truth, or a libertarian tells the truth, it's not like a warfare of like a, just consider it. I'll share anybody's stories. If it's a liberal, if it's CNN, MSNBC, if the truth is on it, I'm going to share it. It has nothing to do with propaganda. It has nothing to do with picking sides. I've shared multiple CNN videos where they tell the truth. It just doesn't happen that much, so I don't share it that much, because any time someone tells the truth, they buzz them off the network, or they pretend like it never happened, or they argue with the smart person on their network and then kick it off. I don't care who says it. I don't care if it's Hillary Clinton. I don't care if it's Vladimir Putin. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. I don't care if it's a liberal. I don't care if it's a conservative. If it's honest, it's helpful, and it's real, keyword real, I will share it. It just so happens it's coming from one side and it's not from the other, because the liberals have been hijacked. And people don't believe me. They're like, I don't agree with what you're saying. That's fine. Lose in 2020 again, because tens of millions of liberals know this now. The liberals have been hijacked. That mentality is not, oh, peace, love, unity, science. It's like anti-science. It's, oh, my God, any day now the Russians we're really going to get them. You want to talk about foreign influence on an election? Hillary Clinton was paid by Qatar and Saudi Arabia millions upon tens of millions of dollars. This is documented. During the election, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia. And you think $50,000 worth of ads from a company that you're not even sure was working or pro-Trump was the big finder? Of course, the liars and the propagandists are going to say that. I expect them to. But the fact that people still don't want to listen to me and still say, that judge me and watch me and think I'm crazy, that's fine. Continue to do it. I could not make another video. You're going to lose, because it's not the truth. Realness and the truth is going to be the truth no matter who believes it or not. And the mainstream media is not pushing the truth. They're just not. But the difference is between now and 10 years ago is people understand it now and they're not buying it anymore. That's why the VMAs, they have half of the viewership. Why did the VMAs have half of the viewership? Because no one cares what these celebrities think anymore, because they're all liars. They're all in their little echo chamber and nobody likes them anymore. So the viewership goes in half. CNN's not doing well. It's because nobody listens to them anymore. New York Times, Washington Post, people know who they really are and are sick of it. It's obvious. So props to Mark Zuckerberg for standing his ground, because they'll never stop. That's what people don't get. Oh, we're going to find the Russian stuff tomorrow. No, you're not. Because everything to them is Russian. Infowars is Russian. Breitbart's Russian. Glenn Greenwald's Russian. Jimmy Dore's Russian. H.A. Guzman's Russian. All the smart liberals must be Russian. It's like 1930, 2 steps away from putting a bunch of Japanese people in internment camps. And it's getting to that point. I see people, the things they're tweeting, the things they're saying, they've believed this that's where the real propaganda is. I don't care what country it comes from. You're talking about $50,000 worth of ads when Hillary Clinton spent tens of millions of dollars, got tens of millions of dollars from foreign countries. You have George Soros running rampant all over the United States. He was kicked out of Russia. He was kicked out of Israel. He was kicked out of Hungary, owning all the activist groups there, running rampant. He's literally destroyed entire economies. George Soros, he's destroyed the pound. He's destroyed Indonesia. Whatever. Do your research on how many economies he manipulates. Foreign countries, he doesn't care. It's all foreign money. But, it must have been $10,000 worth of ads, or it must have been the libertarian guy who, has a perspective and a free thought. That must have really been. No. That's not what it is. And meanwhile, you're talking about all this dumb stuff. You got massive weather storms, bigger than we've ever seen. You have the president of Russia, who you keep demonizing, talking about artificial intelligence while you dum-dums are following the real propaganda. I don't care about Russia. I'm not specifically pro-Russia. But if Vladimir Putin and Elon Musk are talking about artificial intelligence, and the liberals and scientists in America are doubling down on their dumbness and still talking about, why did Hillary Clinton lose the election? Oh, she wrote a new book on why she lost the election. She doesn't know how, she's not qualified to write a book because she doesn't know why she lost, because she's still lying about it. And it's not that she's just lying about it. Oh, I'm delusional. That would be fine. But she's delusional and spending billions of dollars to make everyone else delusional. But guess what? The core of America is not delusional. So if you're delusional, stop being delusional. I'm liberal. I care about LGBT rights. I don't care if you're trans or gay. That's great. I support you. I'll be friends with you. I don't care race, religion, and gender. I have Muslim friends. I have Christian friends. That's great. I'm a real liberal. I'm not a hater. I'm not a neo-Nazi. I'm not a racist. I love the liberal movement. I love my liberal friends. I love my liberal families. I'm liberal. I get that part. What the liberals don't get is you've been lied to by the media, and hundreds of millions of people realize it, so your echo chamber is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And the support for President Trump is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's happening. You just don't realize it. And I'll get attacked, or I'll get, oh, well, we don't believe you. Okay, well then believe lies, because that's what's happening. It's happening because real liberals don't just read, oh, well, he said this and that. They're playing you. Meanwhile, the real foreign influence on the country, our country's been sold out to corporations, lobbyists, and foreign countries for 20 plus years. It has nothing to do with 2017 Russia. We've been sold out. And the people who sold our country out to Saudi Arabia, who sold our country out, who started civil wars in Syria, who started civil wars in Ukraine, who started wars in Iraq, who destroyed Libya, who have been killing people, they're convincing you that, oh, come on our side. Yeah, join George Soros. Yeah, oh my God, I think they might have spent $50,000 on a Facebook ad. I mean, it's retarded. Excuse my language. That's not politically correct. God bless anybody with mental illnesses. I don't mean to be rude, but it's ridiculous. For a better word, it's getting ridiculous. And I would love for people to realize this, stop buying into that news, then we can have real discussions. Everybody talking about the storms and the climate change. Yeah, that's great. What's the solution? Oh, we don't have a solution. Well, then what's the point of screaming about it if you don't have a solution? Meanwhile, I know people connected with real scientists at real organizations, they're working on solutions for climate change. They're going to solve it because it's all science. If there's a problem, you could fix it with science. There's no benefit to just screaming and hating and calling everybody racist and this and that. And well, I read it and we put a microscope on that negative situation. It's getting out of hand. And it's not going to work because it's just not reality. And that's where we are. We have people talking about artificial intelligence and space travel and all these things. And you're still buying in to the $1.2 failed billion campaign of pointing the finger at everybody but themselves. It's bizarre. But I support and respect Mark Zuckerberg for putting up the wall and saying enough is enough. Regardless of foreign countries, this and that, we need to connect. We need to get to the truth. We need to work together. We need to build solutions. We need to stop holding on to, we really got to see what happened this election. I just told you. I've told you for months what's happened this election. It's a bunch of different things. It's politicians being pathetic to the point where someone like Donald Trump can easily win. You read the emails that leaked, you know exactly what happened because they literally told you. But once again, if you watch mainstream media, they tell you not to read that because they don't want you to know the truth. They want you to read their memos. They don't want you to read all. I'm listening to all sides. I'm going to post my link below to Donor Box if you'd like to support and share. I'm going to come back and stream some more videos. I just wanted to get this out there. Before I stop real quick, I want to also say I saw a really stupid, disgusting article that's in play with what I'm doing now. It was by The Intercept. The Intercept signed a new journalist, and she wrote an article that said why the alt-right and neo-Nazis in America are pro-Bashir al-Assad. So Julian Assange recently has said, why is the right, the conservatives and the Republicans, why are they the anti-war party now? Why are they the anti-imperialist? And the brainwashed liberals, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. This is Julian Assange saying it. He said, the liberals are now pro-war, pro-intervention, and pro-regime change. He's like, how did that happen? That's why I do these videos. It's not because I pick sides. It's because the left has been manipulated and used. And now the new conservatives, even Julian Assange says, he says, why are the Republicans, the war hawks, now they're anti-intervention, anti-regime change? And The Intercept doubled down on it, and they made a big story. They said why white nationalists and neo-Nazis are anti-regime change. They're so dumb at The Intercept. And The Intercept, you should be embarrassed for hiring this writer, because The Intercept is pretty decent. Embarrassing. She tried to make a little web saying, oh, it's white nationalists and neo-Nazis are anti-war. Like, it's a bad thing, regardless of who you are. Anti-war. They're anti-regime change. They're pro leaving that country alone and stop raping the Middle East and killing their leaders and letting ISIS expand all over the Middle East. Since Donald Trump's got into office and he stopped funding them, with Russia's help, Syria has liberated themselves. And the dum-dums at Intercept are like, oh, I'm going to tell you why white nationalists like Syria, and they like freedom, and they like this and that. It's so pathetic. Caitlyn Stone, a good liberal writer, wrote an article explaining exactly how pathetic that is, that they're now trying to shame people into being anti-imperialism. They're trying to shame people away from being anti-war. This is how dumb the liberals and the mainstream media is. This is the Intercept. They're supposed to be the trendy anti-war newspaper. The Intercept is supposed to be, oh, I'm better than CNN. I'm the Intercept. You know, I'm the cool new, oh, no more drone strikes and this and that. Yeah, that's great. I've enjoyed the Intercept, but they literally wrote a propaganda article convincing people why, if you are anti-war, anti-imperialism, and anti-regime change in Syria, you're aligning with white nationals and neo-Nazis. It's ridiculous. Think about that. A major publication telling you, oh, it's now white nationalists to not want to go and blow other countries up and let ISIS take over. It's ridiculous. But it's on par with the mainstream media, who allowed you during Barack Obama's term to turn a blind eye to the fact that terrorist groups took over the Middle East. And no one cared. That's how deep the mind control and manipulation goes. I don't care what you think. I don't care if you consider yourself a liberal or a conservative, but if you consider yourself a liberal and you're anti-free speech and you're pro-regime change and you think it's racist to not want war, you're like, oh, well, the news told me that Russia did this and it's all Russia, so, you know, let's just go destroy the Middle East and let ISIS take over Syria. It's not all black and white. It's a gray area. I don't care if it's China, Russia, the United States, Sudan. If there's good people doing good things, that's fine. So I would like to have a discussion. Communicate a little bit better. And stop this shaming of trying to group everybody in with a small group of people that no one even knew existed a year ago. They put a microscope on that. I'm taking an Uber today, and I'm like, man, these are the greatest times to be alive. We're talking about New York, we're talking about Los Angeles, how the cities just keep getting better and better, and, you know, saying safer, whatever. And he's just like, yeah, but Charlottesville, though, it's like, geez, they just get everybody. They put a microscope on one stupid event that they basically set up, and then convince everybody that, oh my God, the world's melting. Even these storms, it's not that bad. They are bad. I mean, they're huge. They're the biggest storms ever, but 11 people died. It's not like 10 million people died, and, you know, at the end times, it's not a big deal. All of this, it's the greatest time to be alive. And in these tragedies, you can find love and you can find compassion if you look for it. You go to Texas, you could share all the pictures of how brilliant people are and how people were helping people, and race, religion, and gender, and, you know, citizenship. It didn't matter because people were helping people. But with this crazy, they've somehow convinced the modern day left person to be like a hater and just find the worst in every situation. That's a pessimist. That's a, I don't even know the word for it. But this Russia stuff's getting ridiculous. We're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and you're still talking about a failed campaign strategy a year and a half ago. And people think it's trendy, and people think it's liberal, and people think it's cool. That's not liberal. That's not what liberal means. That's not what left means. And I understand there's a lot of people who will never listen. There's way more people who are listening, which is great, because it's all basically just to consider this. But I'm saying this as a friend to everybody, and I know some people are like, no, that's not happening. You'll see. It all was written. It's all being written. It's going to happen because it's the truth. If you're getting lied to all the time, you're going to be disappointed and disappointed and disappointed and disappointed because what you thought was going to happen is never going to happen, because it never was going to happen, because it was never meant to happen, because there's a lot of corporations just lying. They don't want to even have a conversation with a conservative. When's the last time you saw CNN or Washington Post or New York Times or Vice or any of these networks sit down with like a decent conservative or a decent libertarian and a decent liberal and be like, hey, let's go back and forth. Hey, I like small government. Oh, I like the freedom to own your own firearms. Oh, I like less taxes. Oh, I like LGBT rights. Oh, I like the environment. Oh my God, we're two smart people with differing perspectives. They don't do that ever because they don't want you to know. They want you to paint 100 million people like Russians, sexist, racist, and white nationalists. And it's just not the case. They don't want you to, they're trying to demonize the right. Meanwhile, they're making the left dumber. And the right's getting smarter. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. 5 years ago, I thought the conservatives were very stubborn. I thought, the Christians and the religious people are stubborn. But now, the religious people and the Christians and the right wing and the conservatives have leveled up. And they're talking about real things. They're talking about deep truths. And the liberals, who were always pro-science and so, fast forward, now they've leveled down. So the shift has happened. When you go too far right, you go back around. When you go too far left, you're doing too much. That's the pendulum. And now we're going so far left with the mainstream media and the publicly acceptable narrative that we're turning into a bunch of dummies. And that's why I have a lot of conservative and libertarian supporters, because they're interested in the truth. And now the liberals are like, nah, I'm not interested in the truth and science. It's Russia, it's climate change, and that's all it could possibly be. It's like, it's not even, that's not what science is. Science is talking about things and figuring it out and listening to all sides and being like, hey, you know what? Maybe I do have something to learn. Maybe we are doing a little too much. Like diversity. In Google, they fired someone for saying, hey, you're going a little too far with this diversity program. Because Google's sitting there in their diversity meetings like, hey, the United States is 50% women. But our company's not 50% women. We must be sexist. No, you're not sexist. That's just an unrealistic expectation. Everything is not... It's turning into 1984. It's turning into Aldous Huxley. It's turning into every bad sci-fi book that you've ever written about the end times, because the left is losing it. It's not about mimicking your company. Oh, well, we have to have exactly the amount of Indians and Spanish people and women at our company, and it's got to directly match the data. We're not a bunch of numbers. We're not data. That's why you lost the election. We are not numbers. We're human beings. Maybe women aren't going to be in tech that much. You don't have to force it and make sure that half your company's women because half of America's. That makes no sense. And James Damore from Google, a scientist there, wrote that and told you, and you fired him. You're firing him for telling the truth. You're kicking people off TV for telling the truth. That's why the silent majority gets louder and louder and bigger, because you're not budging, you're not listening. I'm pro-LGBT, I'm pro-science, I'm pro-women, I'm pro-feminism. But the left is being really dumb. And conservatives are being way more open-minded. And yes, there's some ignorant conservatives too, and there's some definitely people that are not good people. It's on all sides. It's everywhere. It's every room you go in. It's every business you go to. There's people that are good. There's people that are not so good for whatever reason, going through personal things, taking it out everywhere else, whatever. It's just the reality. I'm trying to get through to people because I'm trying to bridge the gap. I'm trying to bring people together. And the right, I bring the left to the right. In these talks, you can hate on it. You can say what? I'm bringing a lot of leftist values to the right so they can see it in a different light and be like, hey, you know what? As long as you give me the things that I want, I don't care if you do that. And most of them don't care. They just don't want you to take more of their taxes. They don't want you to take their guns. They don't want you to take their freedoms. They don't want you to take their money. And they don't care what you do. You could use whatever bathroom you want, pick whatever gender. No one cares. And as far as the left, I can help you understand conservatives and libertarians more, because a lot of their points actually make a lot of logical sense. And there's not a lot of logic on the 2017 liberal spectrum. It's not because liberalism's not good. It's not because progressivism's not good. It's because propagandists, foreign countries, Hillary Clinton and George Soros hijacked the liberals. With $1.2+ billion, they hijacked liberalism. It's been hijacked. You want to talk about our country being hijacked? Liberalism's been hijacked. The left has been hijacked. And we'll soon see it, because the truth always surfaces. Some things take longer than others, and it's just going to get more and more and more and more and more and more obvious as it's been doing the past year. So it's all love. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I always ask, just please consider it, because even if you don't consider anything I'm saying, there's a lot of truth in there. There's a lot of wisdom. There's a lot of knowledge. So not considering what I'm saying is not going to lead you well, because there's a lot of gems in there. There's a lot of truths. And there's a lot more real in what I just said than you're going to find in 99% of mainstream media. They don't want real. When real comes on the TV, they click it off. When real comes on my screen, I put it up. I maximize it, and I try to find a new one. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys staying. I'll be back this week with some more live streams and whatnot. If you would like to donate to my news analysis, I appreciate it. It's 100% fueled by people. I mean, Google's taking all the money away. They don't want me to exist. They want to call everybody Russian, racist, and sexist. It's harder now than ever to monetize on this, but it probably always has been, because people don't like the truth. Whatever. Don't really care. We're going to keep leveling up. We're going to keep expanding. And it's a big movement. It's a big community. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. It shows the true power of love, knowledge, wisdom, unity, and just common sense. I mean, it's incredible what we're able to do. I don't spend a single dollar. I guarantee you I reach 500 million more people than those Russian ads or than Democratic Party ads without even paying a single dollar. That's how great the internet is. So thank you so much, Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you, Facebook, and thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it.